News Central now at this hour begins in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, with a special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, who also serves as the president's official spokesperson and special presidential envoy on climate action, has announced an indefinite leave of absence. The leave, prompted by a worsening medical situation affecting his immediate family, was communicated in a memo submitted to the Chief of Staff on Friday. In a statement, the presidential spokesperson acknowledged the challenging decision, citing family consultations that led to this temporary pause in his duties. He expressed a deep sense of responsibility to the nation, but emphasized the urgent need to address the family medical concerns. He said he looks forward to resuming his full-time duties once the situation allows, asking for privacy during this difficult period. Away from that, a federal high court in Ikoyi, Lagos, preceded by Justice Dendi Dipi Olu, has scheduled a hearing for Thursday, September 12th, to address all applications regarding the forfeited assets linked to former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele. Earlier, Justice Akintayo Oluko ordered the interim forfeiture of $2.045 million and multiple properties connected to Emefiele following an application by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Now, these assets include duplexes in Lekki and Ikoyi, underdeveloped land and bungalow, and an industrial complex in Delta State. The court also ordered the forfeiture of 2 share certificates held by Emefiele. The EFCC was instructed to publish a notice in a national newspaper inviting any interested parties to challenge the final forfeiture. The case will proceed with legal representatives from both sides. Now we switch gears to talk about the lingering fuel scarcity, and we'll bring you update on that as President Bola Tinubu has broken his silence on the increase in the price of petroleum motor spirits, PMS, popularly known as petrol. Tinubu, who addressed Nigerians living in China on Friday, said the petrol price hike and other reforms by his administration are part of an overall strategy to set Nigeria on the path of economic growth. On Tuesday, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, hiked the pump price of petrol to 855 naira across its retail outlets amid long queues at filling stations. Still on the fuel scarcity, oil marketers in Nigeria have yet to commence loading premium motor spirit despite government assurances of availability by the weekend. Reports say while PMS vessels have arrived at NNPCL's Apapa and Port Harcourt depots, independent marketers have not begun loading. Few queues persisted across major cities on Friday, despite the Minister of State for Petroleum, Heineken Lukmobiri, promising mass availability soon. Mustafa Zarma of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria said loading may start by Sunday, with few queues possibly stretching until Monday. NNPCL aims to begin lifting products from the Dangote refinery by September 15th. Meanwhile, President of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Billy Gillis Harry, confirmed ongoing delays keeping fuel prices high at filling stations. And now we switch gears to security matters. A recent document alleging security payments to bandit leaders by the Zamfara state government has continued to generate reactions. The letter, which is widely being circulated via several social media platforms, claims the Zamfara state government has earmarked millions to be paid to several bandit leaders as part of an approach to addressing the escalating insecurity situation in the state. And now to discuss this, we're joined by security expert Catch Ononuju. Catch, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for doing this with us. First of all, let's just take it a bit back and help us give a bit of historical context of banditry and government responses in Zamfara State. How credible is the allegation of payments to bandit leaders? Are there any previous instances or patterns that support or contradict this claim?
Right now that everybody's complaining about is not a new problem. I want to tell the world that I believe the Nigerian government has failed in its quest to actually look after the local people. This is not a new problem. This problem has been here for a very long time. President Buhari has tried about 7 different schemes to try and actually gain land to resettle these displaced refugees who came in from Mali, Central African Republic, Burkina Faso, and other countries. But he did not gain any positive results. And so I believe now that we have come back again under President Tinubu, if Tinubu does not solve it properly, you will see is this random killing every day by the Fulani refugees who are seeking for land. And I don't think this is the right way to gain land in any West African country. That's why I believe the leaders failed. If they were never able to resettle the Fulani refugees in Central Mali or Central African Republic, and they came to Nigeria, this is what we're now having. They are being forced to kill in order to gain land, to resettle themselves by force. This is not a way to run a country. I think this is wrong. We must take initiative to save the households.
I'm going
Nigeria. This can't continue.
Catch, I'm going to ask you again, because you didn't answer my earlier questions. With historical context, how credible is this allegation of payments to bandits? Have there been any previous instances or patterns that sort of support or contradict this claim? Yes or no?
Yes. This to bandits was a strategy adopted by the Buhari administration to keep the Fulani militiamen on, because the militia people needed money. And that's payment by government to them, initiated by President Buhari, was the original way to give them money. If you don't give them money directly, they will engage in kidnappings.
All right.
And the Nigerian government didn't like kidnappings as a way. Remember, the schools in Kankara, the payment to them, all those were arranged. They mass kidnapping of youth, and then the subsequent kidnapping, the payments. Those payments were monies being given to these terrorists for them to augment whatever it is that they needed. But they were not able to gain this trust of the government who were giving them money, because no matter how much money you give them, they will always renege on agreements. And that's why the government stopped paying them.
Catch, let me ask you, right? You just said that there's some sort of truth to these claims. So what are the potential policy implications for Zamfara state government and the federal government? How might such payments affect?
The governors have collectively said they will no more pay these damn terrorists. The more you pay them, the more you strengthen them, the more they buy new weapons, the more they buy new logistics. Don't pay them. Let them go back to their country. We cannot continue to live like this,
now,
as if we are living under, this illegal arrangement. It's just not paying the country.
Yeah.
So I agree that the governors should say no, even if they've ever done it tonight. Now that Buhari is gone, nobody will be killed. I don't think that the Tinubu administration has the same kind of mind share as the Buhari administration. So let us try to save the farmers. Now you're seeing from not paying them, they now don't want the farmers back to their land. So there's no famine. And that has forced food insecurity across Nigeria. Even they will not even allow them to go and harvest. This is the problem. Once you start paying terrorists, you can never stop. So the right thing is, Nigeria needs a proper policy to actually go against these people. It's been done in Burkina Faso, it's been done in Senegal, it's been done in Mali, it's been done in Niger. Why is the Nigerian government still embracing terrorists?
Now,
this is wrong.
Okay, catch.
I believe what is happening to the Hausas under our watch is a shameful thing, to say the least. The Hausas should not be allowed to suffer the way we allow them to suffer. This is unfair. All their land, right from Katsina to
I must
Zamfara
say
to
at this
Sokoto,
point that we do not know the identities of the bandits.
Why? Terrorists think they can take over land and drive away the farmers into IDP camps, and the government is doing nothing. This is not a way to run a government.
All right. Now, I must put out something here. It's very important that we have to do this. We do not know the identities of who these bandits are. And so we cannot say they're from Niger or neighboring countries. We don't know them. We don't know them by their names or their nationality or their origins or state of origins. Let's just be clear on their identity for that. But Catch, many thanks for coming on. We appreciate you for doing this with us. Catch Ononuju, he's a security expert, and he joined us now to discuss the claims of payment of Zamfara state government to bandits. Now, staying with security matters, Katsina State Governor Duko Rada has pledged government support to communities willing to cooperate with security forces in combating banditry, kidnapping, and crime. Speaking at the launch of the 2025 Citizens Budget Participation and Community Development Program in Katsina, Rada encouraged communities to take defensive measures while awaiting the arrival of security personnel, citing an example from Samiya Gino village where it took security agents 2 hours to reach the scene of an attack. The governor highlighted the challenge of delayed responses due to the vast distances and limited security presence. He emphasized that security forces alone cannot protect every community and urged residents to stand firm against criminals. Let's go on a short break. When the news returns, House of Reps to reverse Nimit's Act for enhanced efficiency. We have the details after the break. Stay right there. Welcome back. The House of Representatives Committee on Aviation Technology, chaired by Abiodun Akinlade, is set to amend the Nigerian Meteorological Agency Act to boost its efficiency. At a retreat in Abuja, Akinlade urged NIMET's Director General to propose amendments to the NIMET Act, emphasizing the importance of stronger collaboration. He noted the committee's successful resolution of 45 months of minimum wage arrears for NIMET's staff, which averted on industrial strike, I beg your pardon. Now, Akinlade also commended efforts to minimize internally generated revenue deductions from aviation agencies and NIMET's move to exit the integrated payroll and personal information system, signaling a bright future for NIMET's contributions to weather forecasting, aviation safety, and agriculture. The proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has distanced himself or itself from a recently announced new sit-at-home order, which is planned to last for 30 days. Emmanuel Kanu, younger brother to the leader of the group, Nnamdi Kanu, in an interview with News Central's Chinwe Ogeli, says the group never made such order. He also made clarifications on the claim about the position of Simon Ikpa in IPOB. Take a look.
The initial reason for introducing the sit-at-home order by the indigenous people of Biafra, according to them, was to subtly protest the detention of their leader, Nnamdi Kanu, by the Nigerian authorities. At the early stage, the people in the southeast complied with the order, but later the protest was abused, hence the cancellation of all sit-at-home by the leadership.
Remember also that people have chosen willingly on their own to sit at home in solidarity with the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. It's not our making. Even in numerous occasions, IPOB has called for the lifting of sit at home, but people said no. This is the only weapon we have. We need to sit at home until Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is released.
Yet attempts by the people to trade or carry on with their normal activities on any day declared sit at home had enforcers destroying goods and lives of citizens of Nigeria within the southeast region. Orders continue to come from various sources. Is the place of Simon Ekpa in IPOB?
He is not a member of IPOB. He does not represent IPOB either. People should understand that. It's not as if Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is incommunicado. We can always reach out to him, and of course, most of the instructions come from him, and his order is final as long as IPOB movement is concerned.
The recent rumors of a planned 30-day sit-at-home is not only unauthorized, but anti-people.
You know, people have seen the entire movement, as a huge merchandise, and therefore they are cashing out on that. So they can come up and say whatever they want to say. They can allege that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is my leader, and they keep extorting people and frustrating the entire business environment.
Emmanuel Kanu, younger brother to Nnamdi, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra and spokesperson of the family, says such order never emanated from IPOB.
We are not part of that process. The reason why IPOB is set up is for the good of our people. We have not come to cause them pain.
Although some residents of Homa had justified the occasional sit-at-home They, however, think that to sit at home for 30 days is quite a tall order.
na-erubere ya isi na-abụghị mmadụ niile ha ekwesịghị na-asị mmadụ hapụtakwala nọrọ n'ụlọ.
There are people that are living in everyday money. Anything they get, that is what they eat. And you're trying to keep at home for almost 1 month. It cannot work.
It's impossible now. It's impossible. I can't stay at home for 30 days.
The major concern here would be the different orders and counter orders coming from persons who lay claim to the leadership of the organization, even when the leadership itself has clearly disowned them. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has dissolved the 17 local government transition implementation committees as of September 6, 2024. The directors of personnel management will now oversee administration until elections on October 9th, 2024. Mutfwang praised the outgoing chairman for their leadership and encouraged them to support the party and constituencies ahead of the elections. He also reaffirmed his commitment to a transparent and inclusive government. The Edo State Commissioner of Police says that the State Police Command has begun the mop-up of illegal firearms in circulation across the state to ensure peace ahead of the September 21st governorship election. The State Commissioner says that the first 2 weeks of his assumption in office has been occupied with a series of engagements with relevant stakeholders to ensure that the state remains peaceful and to seek their cooperation of citizens in a bid to ensure that the poll is violence-free.
This week, we are starting serious mopping up of firearms in illegal hands. People who are not supposed to carry firearms, we want to make sure we mop them up. So we have constant raids, constant patrols to ensure that we mop up these arms. And doing that, I also receive for the cooperation of everybody. All those who are not authorized to use arms, firearms, we make sure my men go after them and ensure that they remove these arms from them. As we approach the election, we want to make sure Edo State is free from all the illegal weapons.
Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has handed over $170,000 United States dollars to the Canadian government, being proceeds of financial crime perpetrated against victims in Canada. The EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede, also handed over other assets, including 53 vehicles, saying they were recovered following extensive investigation conducted spanning several years. He says the ceremony is indicative of government's zero-tolerance posture against cybercrime.
Money, financial assets, and also we have recovered vehicles on behalf of the victims in Canada. As a matter of fact, about a total of 53 vehicles were recovered on behalf of the victims. And also, in one instance, we had about $164,000 US belonging to a Canadian victim known as Elena Bogoas. And also, we have here, which is going to present to you today, another sum of $16,300 USD, United States dollars, belonging to another victim known as Sandra Bola. So what we are doing here is it's a demonstration of our commitment to the interagency relationship, also from country to country. Secondly, it's also a demonstration of the fact that the Nigerian government does not tolerate financial crimes. Not only that, we are going to pursue it vigorously, not only that, we will investigate, we will recover, we will prosecute, and we ensure that the victim is restituted.
Nigeria's Fiscal Responsibility Commission has warned against the mismanagement of borrowed funds by state governments, calling for fiscal discipline and compliance with the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Now, the chairman of the commission gave the warning at the National Summit of Fiscal Responsibility Agencies in Nigeria. News Central's Joshua Ibarai has the details of this report.
The event, the National Summit of Fiscal Responsibility Agencies, holding in the nation's capital, Abuja. The chairman of Nigeria's Fiscal Responsibility Commission cautioned against the misappropriation of borrowing funds, emphasizing the need for greater discipline and adherence to the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
You will observe, in our view, fiscal coordination has been a very key challenge, particularly in the area of debt management and procurement practices. We do not see sufficient adherence to subnational government to the conditions for borrowing as stipulated in Fiscal Responsibility Act. It is incumbent upon state government and lending institutions to operate within these parameters and to comply, ensuring that fiscal discipline is maintained and that our national debt remains within manageable limits.
The Secretary General to the Federation urged the Commission to increase its technical support to government at grassroots level.
As part of the overall effort and strategy of the federal government for the implementation of the judgment of the Supreme Court on local government autonomy, I have directed the chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission to expand its technical support to subnational entities towards their wholesale adoption of fiscal responsibility conduct, policies, and bylaws as practiced at the federal level.
Other stakeholders at the event called for the amendment of the 2007 Fiscal Responsibility Act so that it will support reforms geared towards effective oversight by the Commission.
The public officer who is failing to comply knows he is doing it at the detriment of me and you and our posterity to come. It is time we all push for a revision of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission Act.
Stakeholders here say 22 states out of 36 have adopted the fiscal responsibility laws, indicating a promising development in public finance management. However, they say there is a need to raise awareness about these laws and its implementation to guarantee effective management of public funds across all levels of governance. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
The Federal Ministry of Education has clarified that the ministry has not stopped students who are not up to 18 years old from writing the West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination and the National Examinations Council exams. The Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Sunusnu, made the clarification in Abuja on Friday while fielding questions from journalists at an event to mark the 2024 International Literacy Day. Sununu said that the public misconception and misinterpretation of what was said by the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, was highly disappointing. And now to Abia State, where the government has announced that all land title documents not submitted for recertification in urban areas will no longer be deemed valid. This follows the expiration of the property recertification deadline. Months ago, the Ministry of Lands and Housing called on property owners in urban areas to present their title deeds for revalidation. The state's Commissioner for Lands and Housing, Chuku Merije, told journalists that the recertification process will now proceed with the documents submitted. However, there seems to be a lack of enthusiasm from property owners. And News Center's Chinwe Ugeli has more.
The government's directive applies only to properties that have already been registered with deeds bearing the official government seal. The Ministry of Lands and Housing says the revalidation is aimed at updating land records and ensuring the authenticity of government-issued documents.
Any title document that was not submitted for recertification shall no longer be accepted within the ministry or her agencies, and this includes the planning authorities, until submitted for recertification. The ministry is now verifying documents that have been submitted so far and activated the invalidation of titles for transactions until they are recertified.
However, the policy has raised concerns among the public, particularly property owners and lawyers who are reluctant to speak on camera. Lawyers have refrained from commenting, citing the ongoing court proceedings. While the government insists the recertification process benefits the public, some citizens disagree, arguing that their documents, though issued by a previous administration, are already legitimate. Others not directly affected by the policy view the government's initiative as a positive step toward land management reform.
Because somebody can easily come and sell your land. So they want to make sure that your land is your land. They will want to make it to be official so that nobody can steal your land. Because I've seen so many places where they present false documents. And before you could realize, the house has become to that very person.
Meanwhile, the ministry has also suspended further land allocations in certain government estates, citing the need to implement necessary infrastructure before resuming any allocations.
Allocations within government layouts shall be withdrawn for default in the terms and conditions of the offers, which includes non-development. To this end, the following layouts are immediately affected: Valley View Estates Phase 1 and 2, Public Servants Layout, also known as Cattle Lairage at Mbarakoma, the Mbarakoma Mini Layout, and also the MBC Layout.
While many citizens question the legality of the government's actions, they might have been more receptive to the exercise had it come without financial costs. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugile.
And now to health matters. On August 14, 2024, the World Health Organization, WHO, declared the rising cases of Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, as a public health emergency of international concern, highlighting the global urgency to contain the virus. In Africa alone, 13 countries have reported rising cases of infection, with the Democratic Republic of Congo confirming a cumulative number of 19,667 of Clyde LA and Clyde LB cases, including 575 deaths. In Nigeria, the number of infection has risen to 48 and spread across 20 states, though no fatalities have been recorded. However, the Nigerian government has swiftly procured about 10,000 doses of of trial vaccines from the U.S. government, raising concerns over the safety and efficacy of the administration of drugs that are yet to be fully approved for human use. News Central's correspondent Lekon Onabanjo brings us the details in this report.
Situation report from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention website revealed that 48 confirmed cases of Mpox infection from a cumulative number of 868 in 20 states were recorded with no fatalities. In a swift response, Nigeria became the first African country to receive 10,000 doses of the Indigenous MVA Mpox trial vaccine donated by the U.S. government, with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, granting only emergency use authorization as capacity for local production is not optimal.
So concerning the safety of the monkeypox vaccine, it has undergone rigorous testing and research and has been deemed safe for humans. This same vaccine was also used to eradicate smallpox, and this vaccine can reduce the severity of the infection in infected people.
NAFDAC for now has not attained the level where they can begin to supervise manufacturing of vaccines and other related biological products. They are trying to attain that. That is the ML4 that they are aspiring to, or WLA and Co. When they attain that, companies can now be allowed to manufacture, and until NAFDAC attains that level of regulation, they won't allow anybody to do that.
Across Africa, 12 other countries are battling the Mpox outbreak, with thousands hospitalized. Despite the situation, concerns grow over the use of trial vaccines, as there are currently no FDA-approved treatments specifically for Mpox.
When we have such opportunities, what do you want people to do? You weigh the risk and the benefits. Do you want people to continue to die of Mpox? Do you want the condition to spread, thereby affecting the entire populace and curtailing our health, people's quality of life, again affecting your economy? Or the ones you already have, you want to try on few individuals and see? Because ultimately in drug development, when you take drug development through the various stages, it culminates in testing it in humans.
Although some antiviral drugs originally developed for related viruses are being used, their safety and effectiveness for treating mpox have not been thoroughly validated, with reports of potential side effects like elevated liver enzyme levels surfacing.
Every medication does come with its own side effects. However, these side effects of elevated liver enzymes is actually very, very rare. And even if it does happen, it would eventually go away on its own. Before the vaccine can be administered, certain tests such as a liver function test can be carried out to limit severe side effects such as this as well.
In countries like Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo, medical practitioners are urging caution, calling for a balanced approach that prioritizes patient safety while addressing the growing threat of mpox. In Lagos for News Central, Lekan Onobanjo.
Nigerian ports are grappling with critical challenges that demand swift and effective solutions, from crumbling infrastructure, including dilapidated roads, outdated rail systems, worn queues, and inadequate equipment, to security lapses, and also persistent delays in cargo clearance. The situation is dire. An assessment by the Nigerian Ports Authority under former Managing Director Bello Koko revealed that the country would need between $800 million and $1.1 billion to rehabilitate these ports. Beyond infrastructure, major ports like Apapa in Lagos also suffer from severe truck congestion, widespread extortion, and other corrupt practices that further stifle operations. And News Center now continues in North Africa as Algerians head to the polls on Saturday for a presidential election in which incumbent Abdulmajid Tebboune is widely expected to secure a second term. Tebboune faces competition from moderate Islamist Abdullah Ali Hosseini and socialist Yusuf Achiche, but remains the strong favorite. Now, polling stations opened at 8 a.m. local time and will close at 7 p.m. Preliminary results may be available by Saturday night, while the official announcement from the electoral authorities expected by Sunday. Over 850,000 Algerians abroad have already cast their ballots since Monday. With young people making up more than half of the population, all candidates have centered their campaigns on improving living standards and reducing Algeria's resilience on hydrocarbons. And now on to East Africa, where Kenya's Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says that 70 children were still missing following a blaze that destroyed a school dormitory in central Kenya and killed at least 17 young people. 17 young pupils, I beg your pardon. The deputy president told reporters each side the hillside of Andarashi Academy in Nyeri County, where the fire occurred overnight. At least 17 pupils have died after a fire reaped through their school dormitory overnight in central Kenya. The blaze in the Nyeri County's hillside Andarashi Academy broke out at around midnight, engulfing a dormitory where the children were sleeping.
We still have 70 kids that are unaccounted. But that does not mean that they are perished or they are injured. The word is that they are unaccounted for. We are praying and hoping for the best. And this is where I need to make an appeal. When this incident happened, some parents came here and took away their children, and they have not filed this report. I'm appealing to each and every parent who took their child from here to report the same. We'll give a number that is here by the International Red Cross and the school so that we know where that child is.
As the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris nears even closer Both candidates' economic plans and fundraising efforts are under scrutiny. Money is a huge issue in this election and, of course, is an issue that a lot of voters care about. For News Central, Afia Hagen has more.
Mr. President, thank you for being here and welcome.
Donald Trump has unveiled a slate of new economic plans, including the creation of a government efficiency commission that he said Elon Musk has agreed to lead if the former president is elected in November.
I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force.
Trump, in his speech, also outlined proposals aimed at further reducing the corporate tax rate and tackling government regulations, including those aimed at energy production. He also vowed to rescind all unspent funds from one of the key laws passed under the Biden administration, embrace cryptocurrency, and reaffirmed his plan to place sweeping tariffs on imports. Trump's Government Efficiency Commission proposal follows a recent conversation he had with Musk on X, during which the Tesla CEO suggested that the former president should create such a group in an effort to tackle inflation and appoint him to it. The Trump campaign, which views the economy as its top issue ahead of the November election, planned the former president's address in an effort to contrast his economic plans with those of Vice President Kamala Harris. Many of the economic proposals Harris has introduced in recent weeks hew closely to President Joe Biden's platform, but the vice president has also put her own stamp on them in an effort to be more populist but not dampen economic growth and innovation. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign increased its already blistering fundraising pace last month, bringing in $361 million in August, easily swamping the $130 million raised by her Republican rival and giving the Democrat a whopping $404 million in cash reserves for the final two-month sprint to Election Day. The cash stockpiled across Harris's affiliated committees tops the $295 million that Trump's political operation said it had available in its bank accounts, and underscored how much Harris's historic and late-breaking candidacy has energized donors and transformed the 2024 race. The $361 million is by far the best monthly haul for either party this cycle. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagen.
Foreign exchange market on a positive note on Friday, rising by 2.9% on increased dollar supply worth $245.17 million. The naira gained as the dollar was quoted at 1,593 naira at 32 kobo on Friday, compared to 1,639 naira 41 kobo quoted on Thursday at the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market (NAFA), according to data from the FMDX Securities Exchange Limited. For the past 3 trading days, the local currency has recorded losses due to strong demand for dollars by the end users. The naira lost 0.47% against the dollar for 5 trading days, from 1,585 naira 77 kobo on Monday to 1,593 naira 32 kobo on Friday, the last trading day for the week. And now let's bring you sports with the FIFA under 20 Women's Cup. Now, the Nigeria under 20 women's national team, the Falconets, will look to redeem their image and also secure the points needed to progress to the next phase of the 2024 FIFA under 20 Women's World Cup against Venezuela in their third Group D match at Estadio Olímpico Pascal Guerrero in Cali, Colombia on Saturday. Christopher Danjuma's Chargers, who urged South Korea 1-0 in their opening match, smatting from a 3-1 defeat to Germany in their second game on Wednesday, and now head into today's clash with their South American opponents, knowing a win or a draw will secure a route to the round of 16 alongside Germany, who already booked their spot with Wednesday's victory against Nigeria. For Venezuela, only a win will keep their qualifications hopes alive, although they will still need to wait on results from elsewhere. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Court sets September 12 for hearing in ex-CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele's trial. Ajuri Ngelale steps down as President Tinubu's spokesperson. Voting underway in Algeria as incumbent President Tinubu seeks re-election. Now remember that you can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times at channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Judith, Atibi.